Billboard Philippines Volumes.
On this episode of Volumes, we got Allison on the show. The band is bringing new life to the city pop genre. They take us on their journey and what they have planned for the future. Let's turn up the volume on Allison.
Billboard Philippines Volumes.
Welcome to Billboard Philippines Volumes, where we turn up the volume on your favorite artist stories. And today, we are with the best dressed artists of 2024. No, but for real, these guys are doing really cool things in city pop. They are album type of artists. They're very in their own lane, I would say. And we love them for it. We are here with Allison. Give it up for Pio, Luis, Marcus, Miguel, and Isel. Everyone, make some noise. My cameraman. Yeah, no, thank you for being here today. Yeah, let's just jump right into it. How did Allison start?
Well, actually, when we all started, it was just me, Marcus, and Luis, because we actually were classmates back in 6th grade. Then, a very long time ago, actually. And then eventually we weren't able to find a bassist, natural bassist, in our batch. So we ended up making a bassist.
Bought him a bass.
Oh. Yeah, we bought him a bass and everything. So okay, you'll be the bassist. And then just recently as well, like last year, now we have our keyboardist, Isel. So it's been a very long process for us to just, have this kind of chemistry together. And we're pretty excited, lalo na nung lumabas na yung Definitely Love na album.
Yes.
So it really just started booming from there.
Question, when it was the three of you, was this always the sound?
It was most definitely not. Like most, no. Like most kids in bands in the early 2000s, we were into like a lot of punk and alt rock stuff.
Of course.
So we were listening to what was kind of like the trend for bands at the time.
Of course.
And we kind of just rode that and kind of found our footing playing bands all the way to like high school. Mm-hmm. And our band had like an older, more indie-leaning sound, which was kind of like the meta for us high school kids when we were at the time.
It's true.
It's what we grew up with.
To get dates.
So,
no, but yeah, for real. Go.
Dates, let's say like early 2010s, right?
Yeah.
So we're talking, what was like the main thing back when you're like Arctic Monkeys was like the kind of thing for us.
Green
That
Day.
was it. The Strokes, all that.
Yeah.
But at some point, we kind of lost touch with wanting to make that kind of music. And we couldn't quite figure out where we wanted to be musically for a long time until like, very small smidges of city pop would stick here and there in how we'd share music with each other. Like there used to be a way to listen to city pop, unlisted city pop on the internet. It was really Miguel who found the source of all of like where we'd eventually go for our music. I forgot what it was called even.
Autonomai?
Autonomai, yeah. It was think LimeWire except exclusively like Japanese music.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
And we started developing and growing into like what we love about city pop from a little before the pandemic to over the course of the pandemic, and then this is us coming out of that rabbit hole.
Yeah. Wait, hold up. I mean, slowly introducing like city pop to each other and then finding like the holy grail of all of it together. But how did that really just happen where it's like, okay, it's city pop's our lane? I mean, what is it about city pop that you love so much?
Well, for me at least, it was just really this like timelessness to it.
That is so true.
Like you can drive to the music,
Yes.
whatever you're feeling, whatever time of day it is. Like city pop has something for you.
Actually.
Yeah. So like at some point we were just like, we enjoy this music so much. So what does it take to like try to even make it? So at some point we also try to get good.
Yeah.
We also tried to get good, from coming off of the indie punk and all of those influences. It was like a good 180, to being a bit more technical about things, like being intentional din sa mga choices namin.
That's true.
Pagdating dun sa music, and also upgrading the writing as well. So that was really the process to get to this point where we are at now.
Also a neat thing about like how the five of us, Isla was a new member, so the four of us at the time, how we interfaced with it musically, because we all grew up with like different music interests.
Okay.
I would say we never really had a unified music interest. Like growing up, I listened to a lot of jazz, a lot of bossa nova, hip hop, and Pio was into a lot of like vintage pop already.
Okay.
So think like Michael Jackson and the Beatles and stuff. Miguel was the one who's really into like J-rock, right?
Nice, yes.
And Luis had a lot of like rock metal influences.
I see it.
He sees it, yeah. And I think city pop it's inherently like a convergence of styles, really.
Okay.
It's its own melting pot of styles. And we all saw that and applied what we, our own backgrounds to it, and it kind of just fell into that.
I would never think those backgrounds said like, okay, city pop. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so once you started to get into city pop and started to make that type of music, what did it feel like those first few songs?
For the first few songs, we it was really something new for us. Para siyang bagong way to express ourselves in terms of our music, especially since we were coming from different genre, like from indie, and then before that from punk, like Green Day. So from that going to city pop, there was a jump in terms of style. So all of us needed to adapt and learn new skills. So like, for example, Pio used to play guitar all the time, and then now we have songs that he just focuses on the vocals.
What were some of the first songs that you wrote?
Actually, the very first song that we had on that album was My Love. My Love was actually the jumping point of us, like, hindi pa nga yun hindi pa yun city pop actually.
Underpass came first.
Yeah,
before
well,
My Love.
it was there, and then yeah, Underpass first, sorry. That's Underpass first, and then it was My Love. No, Underpass was so indie.
Yeah.
I don't know nga if there's still versions of it online.
Okay.
No, it was Facebook.
What
And you can
versions
buy
are you
it.
talking about?
Not illegally.
Yeah, so it was a completely different song, and then yeah, we had My Love, and then parang part into the pandemic, we had Kilite and all of those songs like Feel So Good. That was pretty much mga later songs na.
So that was really just like inside the pandemic, just studio. Were you guys together during those times, or was it the online sessions?
We had online sessions.
Oh
like
my
at
God.
some
those
point,
those were tough. Yes.
yeah, I had
yes.
to learn how to like do some basic how to use the DAW and everything just to record the ideas. And then what we usually do is we have the files, pass it to one person, then sige, latagan mo yan.
Yeah.
And then yeah, that's how we kind of did the writing process back then. So
We'd meet like once every 6 weeks, dude. Like,
Where have you been?
no, there was at some point in the pandemic where things already kind of lightened up.
Yes, true.
And we could see each other reasonably like 6 months. This was before we had like the set studio to work in. So we'd rent out a practice room, and that's where we'd write, because we always had a hard time writing when we weren't together.
Okay.
And it still persists
It's
now.
true.
We kind of have to be doing this in the room at the same time for us to get anywhere.
There's a
really.
different magic when you're together, for sure.
Yep.
So, okay, you're coming out of the pandemic, you have this project, and then you start, you're going to play your first show. What was that like? You know what I mean? You come from this different genre, you make the music, only you guys are knowing about it. You're putting it out there a bit, but then putting it in front of a live crowd for the first time, what was that like?
Kailan ba natin una yun? Sa Ateneo.
Ateneo.
Ay, hindi,
No,
Ateneo.
yung Ateneo, yung first gig mo.
Exciting eh.
The
Kasi
Japanese.
new member nga ako. Tapos kailan yun, yung meeting day na recruitment day. Job interview. Pinarinig nila lahat sa akin. Sabi ko, wow!
Wow. Eto.
Gina to. Ito na yun. Kasi going into, mahilig na rin ako city pop. Kaya parang sakto. So, excited ako for people to hear it the first time. And, reaction ba tao? Okay naman, di ba? Oo, parang... Siyempre kabado. Kasi, papunta nun, parang wala pa akong naging legit na band eh. Parang, puro, uy, tara, jamming tayo. Puro ganun lang.
Yeah, gets.
Tapos eto, uy, parang legit na to. May album. Oh, legit. Pero yun nga, parang nagulat na lang din ako sa turnout nung launch kasi daming pumunta talaga, medyo familiar faces. May iba mga like sumunod talaga na hindi ko pa nakita before.
Wow.
Tapos, ang nakakatawa nga, parang, kasi pinapakinggan ko, booming yung TikTok nun. Nung narinig ko yung one song, ito yung TikTok viral to, guys.
Yeah.
Pero nung una, medyo mahina. Pero, tapos nung na-utilize nga namin yung TikTok, tsaka siya biglang angat yung streams. And
I've heard about this. You're the TikTok manager for the group.
Oo.
Yes, he is.
Oo.
Oh.
Kaya nila ako pinag-TikTok kasi ako daw yung pinakabata.
Bagay na bagay kay Isel.
No, but it helps. It really does. And I mean,
Oo,
I think City Pop has a very special place in the Filipinos' hearts. Like, it does come from a certain generation too. And you guys are bringing it into 2024 as like one of like the band that's doing it.
I
You know
mean,
what I mean?
to add dun, kasi parang sa context ng Pilipinas, yung City Pop is yung Manila sound.
Exactly.
So, parang may connection na rin na dear sa mga Pinoy.
Literal connections. Like we even find like as early as late as yesterday, because we kind of tracked this down. There are connections between songs in like the City Pop canon to popular Manila sound songs that we have now. Either they've
True.
been co-licensed, like written by Japanese and then adapted to
Wow,
Tagalog.
yes.
It's actually more than we thought, and we're still kind of tracking that in both the way we write and both the way we consume music.
It's such an awesome time to have a band like Allison come out as well, because I mean, if you know like the origins of the term OPM, it really was about that sound at first. I mean, of course it's evolved since then, pero you know, super origins, it's really that Manila sound that was OPM. You know what I mean? So it's really great to have it come back in 2024 and have those roots come back for a new generation to experience it now in a new way. You know?
Yeah, actually, that's why we even shifted to that. Like, it wasn't really intentional. Na parang sige, let's make music that's something like this. It was just more of like that just made true what we were feeling about the sound. Na it's timeless. Like newer generations can appreciate it, and the hope is when we all get old, when we're all done touring or whatever, like people will still enjoy everything we make. That's why nag-devote talaga kami ng time to not just incorporate textures of the sound of before, but figure out how do you even write, or what was like what made those sounds so interesting back in the day that still applicable to today.
Vinyl.
Oh,
Ayun.
Oo.
True.
Pati vinyl, yun nga. Nagulat nga rin kami actually when our labels, Offshore Music, offered us.
Shout out Offshore.
Yeah. Like, I was surprised that they wanted it on vinyl because that was the last thing that we wanted.
It just makes
like,
sense.
Like, not really the last thing we wanted, but more of like, we wouldn't have, expected that. Like, we only released it last year.
Mm-hmm.
The only goal was to get, let everyone enjoy this album. We'll release it on CD. Let's see how it does in streaming. And then Offshore comes na parang, gawin nating vinyl yan. And we were just lucky nga na, they really specialize in the whole, vinyl format. And now it's here. And surprisingly, like people bought it.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's surprising at all, because the music is really good. And all I can say is this, is that it shows that you guys are fans of the genre. Like, you're students of the genre. Yeah. No, it really shows in the music, and I think that goes for whatever genre you're in, whether it's hip hop, rock, or city pop. It always shows who's really in it and loves it. And when you love it, you're able to translate it so much better, I would say. Because there's techniques and sounds and breaks and ideas that only happen when you're a student of the music.
Yeah. I like that.
There's even throughout the album and even in our writing now, we made intentional moves to even include things as specific as like motifs from like the city pop canon, things that we've heard, like sequences of notes that we've heard like a bunch of times, and we don't even know if it's a thing, but we just hear it enough times. We really want to pay homages in a way that people who are really into city pop and people, and hopefully the people who we look up to in the city pop canon also like sort of hear.
Mm-hmm.
So even the production style is also something indicative of that. Like a lot of 70s to 80s city pop always had that sort of hi-fi yet janky sort of sound. So that's what we tried to emulate on our own music. So
I love it. And here's another thing. I think we were talking about this before we started rolling, but you guys, you're an album artist, and not many people, or artists nowadays, are, I wouldn't say brave enough, but it's hard to put out an album nowadays. I mean, we live in a generation where it's like singles, clips, clips, clips. Our music's getting shorter and shorter. I think, I see songs now that are like hitting like a minute 20, and it's normal. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's a vibe, whatever. But I have a lot of respect for an artist that is like, I'm going to make an album in a time like this. So what made you make that decision?
I guess the way we write isn't that we're really thinking of releasing singles. So we're really album oriented when it comes to writing our music, and it feels just natural to do it as like a collective rather than as singles. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much why we would write mainly albums.
Yeah, and I think with our example nga from Definitely Love, we see the appreciation, of enjoying like a whole experience of music. It's not just you do a whole marketing thing on one song and then, diba? Parang ang nangyayari kasi dun, or at least how I see it is, you're so now influenced with the short attention spans of people na even your artistry has to be affected by it. It's one thing to adapt. Yeah. It's one thing to adapt, but it's also one thing to like just kind of hold your ground and just let the artistry come through. And that only really comes if you really take the time to sit down, let it frustrate you or let it move you, whatever. But, it's just really that process kasi of, making an album na you're thinking about, tawag dito, pagkakasunod-sunod pala ng songs, paano siya i-mix, how do you even arrange it, from that very, pa lang, you're able to really put out yung pagka-artist mo.
And tell a story. Exactly.
Yeah. So that's something then kasi na, as much as hindi siya, it's not something that's really done these days. In our experience din, parang even when we're at shows, people discover Allison for the very first time. They have a whole library that they can they can look at. Hindi lang yung parang, this was a really good song and now I have to like want for more.
Yes.
What we want is for them to enjoy it. Once you see Allison, we want you to enjoy. This is Allison. And we don't have to wait for you don't have to wait for the next few months for something new from us. Like, this is what we offer. Have us in your live shows.
Yes.
Have us feature in wherever. So that's really something that we see na is really good. And at the same time, it allows us to be creative then, like we're also trying to write new stuff. But at least when people are discovering things about the album or Allison, parang, uy, may album sila. So I can keep listening to this for a bit. So that's something we've been seeing a lot right now.
I'd love to expound on this point because I think a lot of times in the music industry, things become very formulaic. And we see huge pop stars do full rollouts for a song or their single or whatever. It's push it like that. Again, nothing against that. It works. We see it happen. But sometimes I see a lot of artists that are coming up, newer artists think that, okay, this is how you do it. You put out a single, you market it every day, all day, and you focus so much on the marketing rather than being the artist or the musician. Whereas I would love to see more people understand the fact that putting out music or getting it into people's ears or lives or to experience it, it's up to interpretation. If you want to put out an album, put out an album. If you have the means to and you can, why not? If that's really what you want to do, then do it. Because just like you said, they go to a live show, they hear you, they like you. They go to whatever music platform it is, they see your full body of music, they get to enjoy it, they get more into it, they become more of a fan. They go to another show, they tell more people about it. You just said Isel does the TikTok stuff. You're still playing that game or putting it out there for people to discover you in a time that is now, but you're doing it your own way.
exactly.
To expound on that further, it's like the process of creating and releasing, or like let's say the bounds at which you release things, it kind of reflects back on how you create things.
Yes.
So the way we write and create is very long term and very album like. So it wouldn't help for us to be thinking about the short term releasing, because we'd end up making songs that feel like we're always on a deadline. We're always trying to catch someone's attention in the short term. But we don't want to catch people's attention in the short term. We're not trying to be like the song of the summer, the song of the week. We're trying to create a body of work that people can live in, an experience that people can live in.
Yes.
And that's why we even have the suits, because it's like, it's a whole thing.
Yes.
It's like, you're not just listening to us on stage. You're seeing this whole thing.
Yes.
You're feeling it. It's a multi-sensory thing that we're trying to capture with this whole, the Allison thing.
That's okay. Sorry, clip it because no, but for real, what you just said there is something I do not hear very often. We're not here for the short term. I'm sorry, like to pause on that, but that's such a powerful statement. We're not here for the short term because we live in a very short term society right now where it's like fast everything. I need to be famous now. I need to be seen now. I need to be heard now. I've heard artists go, I've been doing this for a year and a half and nothing's happened. It's like, what? We're not here for the short term. You're here to make a great body of work and let people discover you, whether it's now or later. But you're here to last. You're here to make something classic. Mic drops all around. Yeah, I guess let's talk about you have an album right now, but you're working on new music.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
Well, wow. Okay, so yeah, let's do this. Well, for the new album, of course, took a lot of lessons, how to just really make it a smoother experience, like in terms of the writing. Because when we wrote Definitely Love, we came in there with, our initial experiences. So as much as, it was an enjoyable one, we also want to take it the next step, or another step further. So right now, I mean, can we reveal?
A few things that are safe
This
to
is
say.
for the Allison fans, okay?
Like,
Let's do
we're-
it.
We're for sure making the album.
Yes.
Like that's there. I think we can't go on record on the exact date, but
Yeah, that's fine. That's
but
fine.
safe to say that it's coming soon.
Okay.
Just interpret that how you will. And like
No, we're
so-
busy.
Yeah, we're really busy. Yeah. And the thing is, when we released the vinyl for Definitely Love, that marked roughly the 1 year anniversary of it coming out. And it also marked our sort of, the suit change and everything.
Yep.
We considered it like the final form of that run, that
Yes.
album. Like, we're not gonna, from here on out, we're going to let Definitely Love just be part of life instead of trying to push for it and push for it and push for it. Now, our time together in the studio is now almost exclusively writing. And it's another album.
That's so great. Yes.
It's a long process. It's a long multi-step
Of course.
process because the genre has inherent intricacies to it. It's not something we wish it could be something that we could do in one sitting and we're like, that's it. That's just it's two guitars, the bass, and the drums. We're done. We used to be able to do that. We used to knock that out when we were like young. But now we have to consider, how's strings gonna sound on this? What synth patches is Easel gonna work? Does Easel need 2 keyboards this time around? Yeah. There's a lot of intricacies to it. And that's what makes it a long process. There's a lot of demoing, a lot of writing, and then there's the producing and everything. So
I love where you guys are at because, okay, you have a full project out. You're playing shows for that project, but then you get to go to the studio and feed that creativity and do something new where it's like you get to love and experience your album and get sick of it if you want to, but then you get to go back to the studio and be like, hey, this is the new stuff, let's make it. So it's a constant, I think you're in the best position, with where you're at in music. Yeah.
Ayun, very nga rin, outside ng comfort zone. At least for me personally kasi kasi first time kong ma-include sa like in any kind of writing process. So, especially city pop pa na hindi siya basta-basta eto 4 chords tayo, A, G, C, mga ganun. Pero hindi.
True.
Like very, hindi naman necessarily, pero relatively complex yung writing for city pop. Kaya, uy, tinuro.
Yeah. I have a heavy burden.
Uy, di naman.
I was actually self-taught, so I never had formal lessons. But the genre of city pop is city pop in general has. If you listen to a lot of city pop songs, one driving factor is really the bass.
The bass, yeah.
Like a lot of the bassists of that era are so good, and they're so creative,
Demanding.
and they keep telling me that it's such a hard burden that I gotta get good. And it is. It does put on a lot of pressure on me.
We're on the long
Yes.
term.
Actually, it's actually for everyone, across the board. Kasi, yun nga, as Marco said kanina, di ba, parang dati madali lang. You just bang out some chords, you're good.
Exactly.
Pero ngayon, even on my end, like with the singing, like I realized nga na parang, mas mahirap na naman yung mga like for every new song, like, okay, the lines are gonna get harder. I have to sing a different way than I'm supposed to do. So, nandun na talaga. We're like right now nga, like writing the album pa lang, we're focused on just practicing, how to even play it.
Yep.
During the live. Kasi ganun na siya naging sobrang iba. Like it's not something that we can just relax and parang okay, we can do this. But this time parang now there's a lot of technical stuff going on. But ultimately, so the biggest factor talaga whenever we do make songs, it's not just about considering na you're a city pop band. Ultimately, it's do we enjoy the sound that we're doing? Because if you're not enjoying it, diba, like what's the point? Like
What's the
kung
point?
susundan mo lang, city pop band kasi
It's
kami.
hot as hell in the
Okay.
Philippines. We're wearing these suits.
Diba? Diba? Sige,
We better be enjoying
oh,
this.
yeah, exactly. Diba? Exactly. Kasi if you're enjoying it, we have this joke na parang we're adapting.
Yes.
It is really hot.
Yeah,
It's
of
really hot.
course.
But we acclimate.
Yeah.
We acclimate to
the
the
word.
music, acclimate to the
Exactly.
the look. But at the same time, like the ultimate barometer talaga of whether the song makes it to the album or any of our processes naman is it something that we enjoy? Is it something that we remember? And then that's how we work on it talaga. So, this is not just city pop for the sake of city pop. That's something you guys can really expect on the next one. But expect that we're gonna work even harder.
This genre, for me personally, pushed us to be comfortable being uncomfortable, if that makes sense. So we always want to keep pushing ourselves. For example, si Pio, before he would play guitar for everything, like I said earlier. And then now there are some songs where he would literally practice for weeks just to be able to play the rhythm guitar while singing because he had new melodies he wanted to try and all of that. But ultimately, it's all about us, having fun together, creating stuff together. So we'd like to be able to bring that time. So for us, it's around late 70s, early 80s, like Manila sound and then city pop for Japan. And I don't know if it's just me, but like city pop for me is like when it's like you're there, but you weren't there in that time.
Yeah.
So we're kind of trying to project that and share that magic, that experience with people.
Totally agree.
Cardio has gotten important.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, okay, especially with like the new stuff, a lot of them requires a lot of technicality and energy to pull off. For singing, I'm like, are you sure about this key? Because like you're gonna be tired, my guy. And then
Watch me.
yeah, so we kind of really challenge each other. And on my end, I have to learn to be a more consistent drummer. I have to be a bit more mindful of things like timing, metronome, all that. So when we do our runs for the new songs, we're kind of sweating after because we still need to acclimate
Yeah.
to the new
Me
material.
personally.
Yeah.
Me personally.
We're still wearing suits for the next one though. That's still gonna be a thing. We love it. Yeah, it's fun.
I think it's awesome what you guys are doing. I mean, you're, of course, paying homage to the past and a really, truly Filipino experience, a Filipino sound. And you're bringing it into 2024 and doing it your way. You're doing it your way. New music's coming out. You're telling everyone you're not here for the short term. You're here for the long term.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. I want to see more of it. I'm excited for new music from you guys. We're all looking forward to the album. We're all looking forward to more of it. They need to catch you live. I'm super excited for new music from you guys. Thank you for being here today. Catch Allison, check them out, check out their album. They're not here for the short term, so you'll see them for many years to come. All right. Yeah, thank you again for being here today. This has been Billboard Philippines Volumes. Check us out on all the social platforms. You guys know it already. It's chill like that. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Billboard Philippines.